Fatal Attraction. I have never seen this movie before. I bought the 4K to watch it in preparation for the Paramount Plus series that is coming out at the end of the month. I will be reviewing that show. I haven't decided whether I'm going to review that show weekly or when the season finishes. Who knows? But I will definitely be talking about that show, so I want to talk about my thoughts on the movie first. And then tomorrow I should have a review for Evil Dead Rise, which I cannot wait to talk about with you guys. I think that one is going to be a lot of fun to dive into. You can check out my reviews for all the other Evil Dead movies. Anyways, let's talk about this movie. First of all, this 4K is gorgeous. Look at this slipcover, and just artwork's great, and the actual disc itself, like the actual 4K transfer, looks incredible. It's beautiful looking. Anyways, we're not here to talk about cool 4Ks. We're here to talk about this movie. And this movie is fantastic. I really didn't know anything about this movie other than Michael Douglas was in it. And I think I knew that Glenn Close was in it, but I couldn't remember. And this is directed by the same director who did Flashdance. Let's see if I can find their name. Doesn't have like a cast list back here. That sucks. Whatever. It is a fantastic movie. What's great about this movie is this is such a tight-knit thriller, but it's a thriller that's very relatable, even though there's irredeemable actions done in this movie. Essentially, we have a man who's tired of his very boring, sad, kind of everyday family life. And he has an infidelity, basically, with this woman, played by Glenn Close. And she uses this one-time infidelity to basically trap him into a relationship, and it becomes a tight-knit thriller throughout it. And that's what's very interesting about it, because yes, infidelity is obviously a bad thing. I don't need to state that. I think most people understand that infidelity is not a good thing. Both what the man and the woman are doing in this relationship is not good. Both took it a step too far. But what makes it, they do a great job of making it, I don't know if relatable was the right word, but more understandable of like, you understand why this character's committing this action even though you disagree with it. You understand why this woman's doing this. Glenn Close actually is so good in this performance that she actually took it to a psychologist and said, would my character do this? And the psychologist gave her some advice, and basically she incorporated that into her performance, which made the performance stronger, I think. And then Michael Douglas is fantastic. It's a really strong, well-acted, well-directed movie of just horror of infidelities and relationships and how we can get tired of them. And it has a lot to say about relationships, abuse, other things like that, I think. And it's interesting because feminists did actually attack this movie at the time. There were moments in this movie that they didn't like. And if you really look at it for what the film is saying, it doesn't really, I think, shed the women in a very negative light. It has some, because both characters are at fault here. The woman's at fault, the man's at fault. Nobody's good here. And I think that makes the story kind of nuanced and interesting, and does make a quick, tight 2-hour thriller movie that is completely engaging, well directed. There are moments when you start this movie that you may feel like it's not well directed, though, where there's not a lot of like really interesting shots, and then the more you get into it, the more interesting direction starts to happen. But also, part of that minute lack of direction also feels like something that's intentional to make you feel in the mind of this character in the first act of this film. And so that leads to some really cool moments. And it's just a wonderful movie that I think that has surprised me with how great it is. I absolutely adored this movie. And I think anybody who's never seen this movie, this is an absolute classic and just absolutely incredible. This film was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, apparently, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Actress, which probably, Glenn Close probably did deserve Best Actress. This is easily her best performance. Just, what an incredible work of art, this film.